Pay attention. It's central to Buddhism to understand that to practice Buddhism is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. And to forget the self is to discover a deeper dimension of self that connects with all the world. It is an important concept to realize what the word meditation means. The word meditation means to familiarize the mind with. It's very important to realize we are familiarizing the mind, we are concentrating the mind all the time. The issue is, what is it that we're concentrating on? What is it that we are familiarizing the mind with? Well, what we're familiarizing the mind with is what it's already familiar with. It wants more of itself. And so we create lives. It seems the purpose of which is to create more of ourselves. But there is some underlying insecurity. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism talk about life as suffering. The word in the ancient Pali language is dukkha, D-U-K-K-H-A. There is another translation for dukkha other than suffering that in many ways I think for our contemporary lives is more relevant. We have this idea of suffering as kind of some threshold of pain. We're okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. Oh, now I'm suffering. Things got really bad, now I'm suffering. There's another way of translating dukkha as unsatisfactoriness. That there is some itch that we can't scratch. There is some sense of something missing. And the Four Noble Truths begin with that statement of life is suffering, and of course, that's not a truthful statement. Life is not suffering. The subjective, uniquely human experience of life, which isn't really focused on life itself, but is focused on our life circumstances, our life situation, creates this dukkha, this unsatisfactoriness, this itch, this questing, this craving, this searching for what will make me enough, since I don't seem to have any real place in this world. As we live fooled by our senses and reinforced by conventional society's training of our orientation to society, to ourselves, to the world, this separateness is presented to us as all there is. Psychologically, it creates the construct, the idea of what Western psychology calls the ego, this matrix, this elaborate patterning of thoughts that are telling me who I am, what the world is about. And we live inside this delusion. Let me share with you a quote. A human being is part of a whole called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. And this delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. What Zen teacher do you think said that? I'm not going to tease you with that. What I want you to know is that's Albert Einstein. The optical delusion that we suffer, that Buddhism, Hinduism, the wisdom traditions from every culture have been very clearly aware of, and that modern Western civilization is only now beginning to understand through its quantum physics. Western civilization completely lost in the delusion of the separateness. But those visionaries who are able to look at the universe with new eyes, Einstein, a scientist, mystic, who was able to see the truth of the way things are, and to see the consequences of living separated from the truth. We live in frightful times and deeply promising times. This group is here, and there are groups happening all over the world of people coming together to explore who they are at their deepest level. What is it? What does it mean to penetrate through this delusion, to live in a way in which, as Einstein suggests to us, that we free ourselves from this prison, widen our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Those of you who are familiar with my writings or have come to other presentations that I give know that I am very focused on the issue of humanity in an evolutionary crisis. That just as any species, when it is no longer in a relationship that is mutually sustaining with its environment, comes into an evolutionary crisis, that species will either somehow evolve in a way to reestablish the harmony, or it will devolve to accommodate the new circumstances, or it'll go extinct. This is what humanity faces because we live in this delusion of separateness, of dualistic sense of here I am here, you are there. What is my purpose? I guess to make more of me. I mean, what is the American lifestyle? The American lifestyle, what is your purpose? You know, little child, you know, in any conventional sense, a little child were to say to their parent or to an adult or to a teacher, what's my purpose? Why am I here? brilliance of a little child. If they're in, so why do I exist? You know, and there'd be the nice little answers, oh, you know, to love and be loved or whatever. But if somebody ever really took them seriously and answered the question seriously from the perspective of the society, it would be to make more of yourself. And eventually they get around, somebody gets around to telling a child that your purpose is to make more of yourself. Why? Because that's the way things are. If you don't make more of yourself, if you don't become really significant, if you don't become really sufficient, if you don't have substance in the world, life will just steamroll. Really. So we enter into this world of, I'm in it for me. And I gotta make as much of me as I possibly can. And so we do. And this is what Buddhism talks about as suffering. That sense of there is never enough. How much, Mommy, how much? How much does it take for me to be, well, more? How much more? Well, just more. And so we live, as Einstein says, in this delusion. What is our purpose? Another way of looking at our purpose, you know, the child might ask, what is my purpose? And, you know, mommy or daddy or a teacher might say, to be happy. Your purpose is to be happy. Oh, how do I get happy? Don't keep coming back to the same trap again. Well, you've got to make a secure place for yourself in the world and have security and do enough and have enough so that you are not beset by the problems of the world. Happiness is your circumstances in the world, and you must work very hard to make beneficial circumstances for you. And so we work very, very hard to make beneficial circumstances for ourselves. Does it bring us happiness? A little bit of happiness here, a little bit of happiness there. Happiness is a tricky word. What is it that we're really seeking? I guess it's to be able to scratch the itch. To be able to have the experience of well-being. I am okay. I truly, 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 truly am okay. Oh, you're okay? Well, what about if this circumstance comes along, or this situation? Will you still be okay? One of the great American Zen teachers, Charlotte Joko Beck, this is one of her teachings. Pay attention to, like, where's the boundary of your okayness? I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. Where are you not okay? What will it take for you to be not okay? If this comes up, if you get an illness, or there's difficulty in a relationship, or if there's difficulty financially, or if there's difficulty in your occupation, where does okay turn into not okay? Pay attention. Where does okay turn into not okay? We're here to talk about enlightenment. We're here to talk about the full potential, the full evolutionary potential of a human being and of the human species. Enlightenment. And Buddhism, Hinduism, all of the wisdom traditions teach that enlightenment is okayness not determined by your circumstance, not determined by I'm okay until this happens, or I'm okay until that happens. Where is an okayness that within the Christian tradition is a peace that surpasseth all understanding?